All right, today we are going to bench test a furnace. In this instance, it's a suburban furnace, but it really doesn't matter if it's an Atwood or suburban. They all work on the same principle. They need 12 volts, they need gas, and you have 4 wires, and it's nice to have a thermostat to bench test it, but you don't. So here we have a gas only thermostat, 20 bucks. We have a converter that changes 120 to 12 volts to feed the furnace, so it has the right power. We have propane, and I have of course a regulator, just a single container regulator. And these are the 4 wires coming out of the furnace. The blue wires go to the thermostat, and the yellow goes to negative, and the red goes to positive. There's our 120 power source feeding into the converter that powers it up. Now I'm going to give my camera to my 5-star assistant, who's going to focus on just what I'm going to do. So the first thing I'm going to do is to go ahead and connect the thermostat wires. Really, you don't need to connect the wires in any particular format for this test. As a matter of fact, you could tie the wires together if you didn't have a thermostat. But I like using a thermostat because it allows me to also cycle the unit. So I do a full test. So I like using the thermostat. Just 20 bucks to add a thermostat to your bench. So there we have the 2, these are signal wires. These are the wires that would normally run to your thermostat in your RV. Here you have your hot wire, which is red, and you have your ground or negative. In the case of 12 volt, it's positive, negative. I keep thinking about 120 volts, but 12 volts. This is our ground wire. We could connect them in any order because it doesn't have power to the system yet. So this is something you shouldn't do. The ground, the positive hooked up to the negative wire. Positive to positive hooked up. Negative to negative hooked up. So now we already had the gas line hooked up. Normally you should do a safety test, either use some soapy water or a sniffer to ensure we don't have any leaks. But I'm going to bypass that one today. So now I come here as a safety. I had the power off. So now I've got power to the converter. And I've got a converter that has a little green light. So I like this type converter because I could see it has power to it. And now we're going to turn on the gas. So we have gas flowing to the system. We have power going into the system. All we need, a thermostat is really a fancy switch. And so we're going to turn it on. Voila, the fan goes on. It lasts for 15, 20 seconds. What it does, the sail switch, which is right here, develops a certain speed. It closes that link. It goes to a limit switch at the back. That's the limit switch. The current flows from the limit switch, come around, to the board, the control board. And the control board sends a signal to the gas valve, which is located here. It opens up the gas valve, gas flows into the chamber, and after a couple of seconds, the igniter sparks. And right now, it's, if you guys can't feel it, but this is the first time this furnace is starting. So here we are going to, that's what I like about this. I'm going to cycle it now. Something that if you didn't have a thermostat, you would just disconnect the wires to know if it's on or off. But here I'm going to cycle it. I'm going to reduce the temperature. And I don't know if you could hear it in the video, but the flame just went out. The fan would continue to run for a minute or two, to, one, purge the system of any remnants of gas inside the chamber, and also cool the system down. So once that cycle is complete, it would shut itself down. We are also going to let that run for a couple minutes. We're going to let it run for a couple minutes, and then we are going to, so right now we are cycling. So I'm going to turn the thermostat back up, increase the temperature, and I'm going to put the video a little closer so we can hear when the gas kicks back on. There you go. I don't know how good my video is. You can actually hear the click, but you can put your hands in front here and feel the heat. Pretty hot. The temperature inside of here, and this is the limit switch. The temperature on these coils in the back here get up as high as 230 degrees. However, the limit switch is preset, factory preset, to open, disconnect the electricity current from one side to the other once the temperature gets up to 190 degrees. And so you can feel the warm air coming out of the back here. This is where your ducts would be, or the side or down below, that the air flows into the RV, into the trailer. It's running nice and smooth. This is a brand new Suburban furnace. What I normally do with every piece of equipment, well, not every piece, for the major items, water heaters, air conditioning units, furnaces, I bench test them. So I have a bench set aside for each one of the items. And once I bench test them, I put them up on my shelf. I label them to know they were bench tested. So when I do the installation, if something is wrong, I should have caught it before I install it. I have done this a couple of times where I've installed a faulty unit, even though it was brand new. Oh, it takes quite a bit of work to take it all out. So the unit is still cooling down. So once it cools completely down, then of course I'm going to disassemble them. Here I have two more Suburbans that I bench test. They're ready to be boxed and certified as being bench tested. So I have less of a chance of having a surprise. Welcome to Tony and Betty's Homemade Videos.